a session on Ask Us Anything. I am Srividya. I am Srividya Varanasi PM with Exchange Server, Hybrid and Hybrid. I also have my colleagues on this call, Mukesh and Rahul, my fellow PMs on the Exchange Server and Hybrid space. So this session is essentially about you asking us any questions or anything about Exchange Server and Hybrid. In the earlier two sessions, we had two sessions prior to this one, which was on the feature roadmap and a roundtable discussion. We've really been able to share some of the features that we are investing in and heard a lot of feedback from some of you on where you would want to see investments. But I think if there are any unanswered questions or if you have not been able to attend those sessions, I think this is the time when you could give us this feedback. So a couple of things, you can unmute yourself and talk and ask us a question. You can raise your hand. We will call out your name. Also, you can type in the chat window to provide feedback. And I will shortly be sharing a link to a survey as well, where we have a list of new features that we want to invest in. And so I would actually request you to, share your feedback through that particular survey as well. So with that, I think the forum is open to you, and please feel free to ask us some questions related to Exchange Server.
All right, I guess I'll start us off. It seems like there's been not anybody else yet, so mine's kind of more of a vanity question, right? So like when I run is a PowerShell vanity question. So since Exchange 2019, 2016 and before didn't have this issue. When I run get mailbox database copy status, it returns the output on 2 lines per entry, right? Because the database content index, which is always not applicable, is always on 2 lines. And so, and you can pipe the output to format table auto size, and it gives you the normal input or the normal output that you're used to seeing in previous versions. But I'm curious as to why this hasn't been addressed in any CU or update or anything like that. And has that been brought up to you guys at all? Is this the right forum for that? That kind of question.
Yeah, definitely the right forum, Joseph. However, I think we hear your feedback. However, this has not come to our notice earlier. So we will be taking this up. We will look at this particular ask that you have, and we will be working towards addressing it. So we will, and if we need more information, we will get in touch with you.
Wow, thank you. Looks like there's a couple of questions in the comments now, or in the chat rather.
So
Yeah.
I think the questions are, how can we restrict ECP access on Exchange 2016 from external network? So I think this is a question from Al. Mukesh, do you want to take it up, please?
Yeah, so I think there are I think for you the requirement is to block any access to ECP from external network, right? So you are not able to configure this through your networking solution. You want an exchange option to do this. Follow me? So essentially, you on your servers you can block the call based on where it is originating, right? Through your firewalls, through your various other network configurations. So I mean, can you like elaborate more on this?
You want to unmute yourself and talk, Lamin, please?
Yeah, hi. Actually, I need to disable the ECP access from the external network. For example, to admin should not access from outside the corporate network and manage the open the ECP access and should not control anything. Okay, but however, the end user, suppose if the user want to set their out of office or anything, that should be on.
Oh, okay. Got your question now. So essentially, your OVA should be accessible from external network, but only the admins who have to access ECP, they should not be able to do it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I will check back on this if there is like a workaround to do this. But this should be feasible. How many servers do you have in your setup?
We
And
have. Yeah, we have currently 9 servers we have, and we are all using the on-premises setup because we are in government organization. So
Mhm.
there are multiple vulnerability assessment. They will find out like the CCP is accessing from the channel, and this is always coming up as an security risk. The multiple vulnerability assessment. So we need to restrict how we do that. Yeah, this one, this client access role I explored, but this is done for Exchange 2019, but we have Exchange 2016 as of now.
I need
Okay.
to, anyways, upgrade to Exchange 2019. That's the best recommendation available at the moment. And yeah, if you want to use, I mean, for your requirement, Exchange client access rules are the best fit here. At 2016, there are no such configuration available.
Okay, thanks. But recently we only migrated from the 2010 to 2016. Now again, it will take some time for migrating to 2019.
Yeah, unfortunately, that client access rules feature was introduced only for Exchange 2019. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
One suggestion I have here is there is a module in IAS for restricting incoming calls to your readers called the domain and IP filtering module. So if you have a particular network subnets for your internal network, you can restrict all the incoming calls to the reader only from that internal network. And this you can do only for ECP, and that way you'll be able to control the fact that no one from outside that particular network will be able to access your ECP.
Okay, we have a question from Jonathan.
So we were asked to investigate OA idle session log-offs some time back and found that it was limited to only if you were using forms-based authentication. Do we know if that will support the newer modern hybrid authentication, or will that still be limited to only forms-based?
So you're talking about OVA supporting hybrid modern authentication, Jonathan?
Oh, you're right. Never mind. They said that it wasn't going to support OA anyway. So the desire was to have OA sessions log off after they've been idle a certain period of time. Unfortunately, that appears to only work with forms-based authentication.
Okay.
So if you're using SAML or BASIC or NTLM, that does not function.
Okay. So let us look into it. So I was not. I mean, like we are not aware of this issue. We'll get back to you on this.
Okay.
Okay, in the chat window, I think there was a question on extended protection. Mukesh, I mean, the question is basically what can we expect in extended protection? What's coming up? So if you can elaborate on the extended protection feature that you're working on.
Yeah, Dennis. Anything to add? Uh, Anything that you would like to add, Dennis, on this? You want to understand more about extended protection? Anything of a issue for you there? Okay, let me at least shortly explain about the extended protection feature what we are trying to, I mean, what are the plans for future. So for now, we have released extended protection with, I mean, with the August SU and a script. So script actually enables you to, script helps you to enable extended protection very easily. There are few known issues with this release where if you have automated archiving, then if you enable extended protection on your backend EWS virtual directory, it will basically disrupt your automated archiving. Then we have few more issues. I mean, few more known issues like search admin audit log. So basically, these issues will be fixed in the upcoming SUs, and whatever issues or I mean, so basically there will be some more things that you would tell us uh, that this is not working in your environment. So anything that we get from you is something that we'll investigate and work on. But for now, we do not have, so other than archiving fix, which is planned for October. I mean, not, I mean, the upcoming SU. We do not have anything else to, add on here. It's a feature that will work with your Exchange 2019 or 2016 uh, and 2013 as well. I hope that answers your query, Dennis.
So Mukesh, I think there is one more question by Zafar on the extended protection only. They're saying that after they install the patch, possibly it leads to some problems in Outlook 2016 client. The client is in fact able to establish a connection, but I see the need password icon in the status bar. After clicking there several times, the connection seems to be reestablished, but only for a while again.
Yeah. So some of the customers have reached out to us where they shared this issue, and we found out that in those cases, at least, NTLM V1 was the root cause. So there is a registry entry on the client machine, which sets the maximum or the NTLM version number that the client should use when it interacts with Exchange server. So in those cases, we have seen as soon as that number is upgraded to a version where they start using NTLM V2, it works. So if that may be the case, you can check that. If not, to raise this issue to us either through email or through the support channel, and we'll look into this.
Okay, then there's a question on integration of Exchange on-prem with Teams. So, Alan, is your requirement basically to be able to schedule Teams meetings through Exchange on-prem OVA or Outlook, or is it basically to be able to see the meetings that have been set up on the Teams calendar in your Exchange environment? Because the latter should be possible.
Yeah, so I think if you're using classic hybrid, MS Teams should show you the calendar even for an on-prem mailbox. This is a known constraint for modern hybrid or the hybrid via hybrid agent. So if that's the case, yeah, you would not see Teams calendar. So I'm, I mean, Alan, if you have any more uh, uh, follow-up query, do let us know. But if the question was about Teams calendar showing up for a hybrid mailbox, it should work if you have classic hybrid. Okay, thanks, Alan, for confirming.
People have any other questions? Can you please unmute or raise your hand, please, so that we can help you out? Okay, I see one question from Kenneth. It's saying, I got a mailbox on Exchange Online with greater than 20,000 subfolders. I realize this is over the supported limit. I was wondering if Exchange limits are going to change with the release of Exchange V next.
Yeah, I
So-
think.
Yeah, go ahead, Mukesh.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, there is nothing in plan to do this, but yeah, I mean, I will probably note this just to check what we can do here. But yeah, I think for now there is no plans to increase this.
Go ahead, Jonathan, please.
Michael mentioned one in the chat that looks really interesting. If we're using SSDs for our data drive on Exchange 2019, is there still benefit to doing the metadata cache?
Yeah, I mean, that's a performance related question that we will probably need to thoroughly check and reply back. But yeah, I mean, obviously I mean, we'll note this and get back to you. But I mean, that's something that we'll check.
Okay, thank you. Well, nobody else has got one. I'll throw another one out there. We have a very dense environment, huge number of users, but there are very, very, very small mailboxes. Is there a threshold where you would say there's too many mailboxes per database? Is there any good guidance on when it's time to split a DB?
Yeah, that's something that I don't have an answer to it right now.
Okay,
So
no worries. I know it's very environment specific, so no worries
So
there.
if you are on 2019, are you using the Exchange Server capacity planning calculator?
Yes.
Maybe that would give you a more accurate answer, but otherwise we will go ahead and check and get back to you.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm curious about that question too, because some of my customers, they have they've just recently upgraded Exchange 2019, and in their 2013 environment that they had, it was it's basically 15 databases per DAG, 3 servers per DAG, and then they have built 3 DAGs at even at one particular site that for their users and such. And I'm just like, I don't know exactly how they're. I mean, I guess maybe they went through the exchange planning capacity planning tool, but I'm just like, I don't like understand, especially like the building of a 3 DAGs, right? I'm like, just one DAG should be good. Maybe with a 9 server, 9 servers in it. So I was just curious if, I don't know if they've come up with that configuration based off of some guidance in the past or anything like that. Do you guys have any idea by any chance?
Yeah, I think the best bet is basically the Exchange calculator, capacity calculator, because that's based on the performance that has been evaluated. So it depends on the configuration, but we would actually recommend to follow what's been shown in the calculator, the capacity planning calculator. So that should be your guidance.
Yeah, as they have is like this other question about the Metacache databasing, Metacache database part. They're all of their 2019 servers are all solid state drives. Their storage and everything is all solid state drive. So yeah, they haven't turned on Metacache databasing either or anything like that. But yeah, they just have kept that database configuration. I don't know if they went through it and everything, the calculator and everything, but I just thought it was an interesting question too that he brought that up. So
Yeah, thanks for sharing this, Joseph.
Thanks, Joseph. Patrick, you're next.
Hi, thank you. We're in Exchange 2019 hybrid configuration with centralized mail routing still turned on. We use a third-party service, and one of the things we're looking to do is change some of our mail routing. What I've noticed is on the outbound connector from 365 to Exchange on-prem, if I go in through PowerShell and update the route all messages via on-premise from true to false, I can get it to route from 365 to our third-party vendor fine. However, if at any time I go back and update the connector via the EAC, the GUI, then it sets that true, or I'm sorry, that false back to true and starts routing back on-prem again. So what is it that's controlling some setting that centralized mail transports on that controls that setting on an outbound connector?
There isn't anything that does that. So
Yeah, from the face
uh,
of it, it looks like it is not working as it should be if it's setting it back to true. So I would actually say that we should probably look at, I mean, we would try to look at what is your setup and try to reproduce this issue. And then we would be able to make some investigation into it and then see what the issue is happening. So Patrick, maybe if you could raise a support ticket about this issue, we can investigate it.
That'd be
yeah.
great. And then to follow on, is there a guide out there or any recommendations about how to disable the correct way to disable centralized mail transport?
Yeah, so one way is to rerun SCW and then disable the centralized mail transport. And then if you are like expert with Exchange commandlets, you can go ahead and use that as well. So it depends. So I mean, both the options are good options to do that. I mean, Hybrid Wizard will do a lot of other things, but I think as we said in the earlier presentation, we are coming up with the a la carte version where you will be able to modify those configurations which you need. So that can be one way, or the other way could be you easily go and run the the connect inbound or outbound connector commandlets and get that change done.
Okay, thanks. I'll look into reproducing that and then opening another ticket.
Yeah.
Anyone else has questions? And I think in the meantime, Srividya has also pasted the feedback request where I think we need some of your input. So please take time, a couple of minutes in filling that information for us. That will be of great help. So I think there's one more person who has raised. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I just had a question. As we're getting more attacks from Hafnium and things like that, we were wondering, what is the pre-authentication method preferred by Exchange team? Like, for instance, for services like OA, EAS that are currently supported, as that will mitigate a lot of the issues. So I'm not sure if there's a specific tool that we could use for pre-authentication.
So pre-authentication. So Akash, can you would you have any idea on this?
Currently, I don't think we would have any other specific recommendations other than the authentication mechanisms that we list down on the blog, right? Which so maybe we can share the blog link which specifies the different authentication mechanisms which we have for different readers.
The default ones, yeah.
Yeah, the default ones. So those are the ones that are supported at the moment. And as and when we are working towards features like modern auth, there will be improvements in the different authentication mechanisms that you can use with different exchange endpoints.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I think there's one question from Alan. He's trying to fill the survey and he was asking about the one item, which is separation of permissions of role management between exchange and AD admin. So what does that mean?
Yeah,
Maybe
so
Mukesh.
Alan,
Yeah.
so
Go ahead.
basically, we've heard some feedback from our customers. Essentially, when Exchange admins are also being given domain admin permissions in the AD, and the feedback has been that we want to restrict this so that the Exchange admins do not automatically get the domain admin permissions. So because then it might be risky. So we're trying to segregate both these roles and see what should be restricted. Is this a scenario that you have experienced in your organization? Is this something that we should invest in and explore further? So that's the context basically in the survey. So if you are facing any issues with respect to the Exchange server admin having more than required permissions on the AD, are there any instances like that? Is one, and if there are, I mean, is this something that we should work on? So does
Cool.
that answer your question?
Yeah, I think Alan has confirmed that. And
Okay.
thanks, Scott, for also sharing the split permission link. I think the one question which I foresee now is from Keith, and I think he's talking about that he has worked in the Exchange 2016 environment with no mailbox quotas. But when we implement archiving, I move all my old mails older than 2 years to archive. When we have the discussion with the management about moving to vNext on premises or cloud, are there a mailbox size limitation that we are aware of?
So in cloud, I don't see. So you're talking about archive mail size limit, right? And I mean, I can check, but I don't think there will be. Yeah, and whatever it is, it should be better than the current on-prem standards that we usually have. So I don't see any problem in doing this.
Bala, if you are aware of any of those things by any chance?
I think Scott has.
I'm so
pasted a link.
sorry. I was replying to the messages on the chat. So
Okay.
can you please repeat the question? Yeah.
I think the question was, Keith has worked in the 2016 environment and there was no mailbox quotas. And when we implemented archiving, I think he has to move all his mails older than 2 years to archive. And I think when we were having the discussion with management about moving to vNext on premises or cloud, are there any mailbox size limitations which we are aware of if you're moving the archiving to vNext or to cloud?
So yeah, I mean, if they're moving just within on-premises, it's all within the control of the administrator on what they have configured or deployed. If they're moving the Exchange Online, so yeah, there is a preset limit there where the primary mailbox is limited to 100 gigs, and archive by default has a limited the default limit. And if you go for the unlimited archive, not the unlimited archive, the bigger archive feature, then you get a larger archive mailbox. So yeah, if you move to Exchange Online, there will be some capacity issue there if your primary mailboxes are above 100 GB in size. Hope that answers.
Yeah, and I think Scott and Akash also pasted a link, so probably you can refer that, Keith.
Okay, I think the next question is from Oliver. He's saying during the MEC keynotes, it was announced that Exchange Online will get features like signature sync soon. Will such features also come to Exchange 2019 CUs, and do we have to wait for the next major release for such features to be implemented for on-premises? So Oliver, I think here, I think what my suggestion will be, if this is some of your ask, please share it out with us in the survey, and we as a team will look into that and come back to you guys about what's a plan for what all things can be implemented as part of the future.
Yeah, by the way, that feature, the unified signature, it's been one of the most asked over the last 20 years.
Yes, Bala.
So I would agree to that, yeah.
So I think we want people to fill in the details, and,
Sure,
and
yeah.
as a team, we can review it end to end. Okay. Just trying to go down the chat just to see if we are missing out. Many of the things are getting answered on the chat. Would any other person has any questions which you want to yeah, please, Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just had another question. Currently in OWA on-prem, there is not like an adding to create Microsoft Teams meetings directly to Microsoft Teams. Was wondering if that's in the plan for
Yeah.
Exchange on-prem.
Yeah, so Michael, we've heard this feedback, and it has come from a lot of our Exchange server customers. So that's definitely in our pipeline. We are looking at it.
Perfect. Thank you.
I don't see any other questions on the chat. Any other customer has any other questions, please raise your hand. Yes, Michael, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I had another question. As EAS protocol is kind of old already in Exchange on-prem, and I don't believe that's being used in Exchange Online. Is there any plans of upgrading mobile devices connectivity through Exchange on-prem through a different new protocol, or is that still best practice to use EAS? Is there a plan for the future?
No. So there is no such plans to upgrade the protocols, at least as of now. And yeah, the current protocols will remain.
Would that service will be upgraded to use modern auth?
Oh, yeah, I mean, modern auth, yes. So we are looking at enabling modern auth for all the clients, be it mobile or your desktop client. So yes, so as most of the mobile clients use EAS, yes, this protocol will also get the modern auth support.
Perfect. Thank you, Kumar.
And Michael, I think these are the things which you have asked in the survey as well. The link has been provided. I think the exact question you have, the details have been provided. And if you have preference for any specific mobile app to be supported upfront, Android, iOS, or possibly anything else, you can put it in the survey, and that can be prioritized as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Gupta.
Thank you. I think the next one is again from Michael. Are you planning to introduce online archiving support on mobile? At this point, we cannot access online archiving from mobile devices. Neither Outlook for mobile or OVA cannot access online archive. So this is something we have not thought about, and we can look into that and come back, Michael.
Yeah, that's specifically important because you introduce this new feature that on-prem mailbox can have online archive. Okay, so now we create online archive, great. But how can we access this online archive
on mobile device.
Got it.
So we moved bulk of emails there and they become inaccessible, which is not great. To say
No, I
at
think
least.
we hear your point. We can review it, and I think this is good that you're putting all the points. We'll look into those and then plan out our things. I think
Thank you.
Jonathan's question is for modern auth hybrid modern hybrid auth is all except OVA is included.
So all
Yes.
clients except OVA, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And we are building support for OVA as well.
Here's
Any? Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask. Yeah, this is just to throw one out there. I haven't, I guess, looked it up too much or anything like that. So, with all this push to the cloud and so forth, is there an Exchange 2022 or 2023 in the works or anything like that? Another on-prem version of Exchange after 2019.
So Joseph, I think there was a blog which was shared about the future of Exchange by Scott, and that speaks and answers that question that we might have a potential release in future, but exact date and others are not shared widely.
Okay, yeah, I probably haven't seen it in the chat. That's all.
Okay. Okay, I think there's one question from Satyajit. No, there's no sandbox for Exchange 2019 or next level. The product is in volume license downloads. How do the admin learn?
Yeah, I think we'll take that feedback to Scott, and we'll see if there is something that can be done there.
I think this was changed a little earlier, right? So Exchange 2019 ISOs are now available
Yes,
for download
this is available
even
now.
outside of volume licensing, especially since hafnium time. So I think
Correct.
starting with CU 10 or something, we have all the Exchange 2019 ISOs available for public download.
Oh, I thought the question was about license not available for
No, I
the
think this is not
network.
licensed. This is for sandbox. So I
Download,
think
yeah.
this is what
Oh,
Bala
okay.
is saying is right.
Okay.
Yes, Michael, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the right place to ask it, so feel free to let me know. But out of curiosity, Exchange Online and being so many servers around the world, is there any specific tool that they create for desired state to keep across the servers on the configuration sense? Of the infrastructure?
Yeah, I mean, there will be services that are, large services which would be managing that for the Exchange Online teams, I believe. So it would not be, a set of tools, I would say. But yeah, I wondering if that answers your question. But there are whole infrastructure teams handling that from Exchange Online perspective.
So yeah, I just was wondering if there's a specific tool if we have multiple Exchange servers that you would like to keep in desired state being used. But I'm guessing that's like a specific tool created by Microsoft for Exchange Online.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. It's something that's internal to Microsoft at the moment. But I think Scott has some answers in the chat, wherein health checker would be something useful if you want to identify, whether you have the right settings and your servers are healthy in case of large environments.
Thank you, Sharma.
Yeah, and so we added something recently to health checker, like for TLS configuration, if it matches across a server, right? We have added that additional capability in health checker. So we do keep, updating the health checker script also over time. So that, yeah, that does help.
I think
Okay, I think
Dennis had a question on the reboot criteria. So basically, he's saying how does the setup basically see if a reboot is pending or not, and he feels that it is a little random.
I think there is a registry key it uses to check whether a setup should reboot. Sorry, I mean the machine should or the server should reboot before the setup starts. Uh, I mean, sometimes that registry key is not uh, changed even after one restart. So, I mean, that's the reason why you can feel it is random. But yeah, there is a Windows registry key that we use for finding whether a reboot is required or not.
Yeah, and Scott has also pasted an article regarding the reboot.
any more questions people have? I think we have answered pretty much all the questions in the chat. Yes, Nipa, please go ahead.
I have a quick question. There was some talk, I guess, on Exchange Online about changes in the transport where you have mechanisms in place for handling a reply all storms. That was on Exchange Online, and some changes to transport rules and so forth. Is there a plan in the near future to do that on on-prem installations as well? That kind of code to prevent reply all storms.
So, Nepa, what you can do is that can be filed as a request to us, and we can look into that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Like Frank Arias has one? Or no, that's not it. Sorry. Where's it? No, it says, are there plans to harden Exchange OA against password guessing lockouts by limiting invalid logins by source IP and so forth? Said there are too many Exchange servers that are reachable directly.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Frank will definitely note this and add in one of our backlogs.
So Satyajit, I think your question is that Exchange Online Admin Center is changing very often. Is there any plans for doing the same for on-premises? No, nothing immediately. The on-premises ones remains as is. Online is where the changes are happening currently.
Yeah, but we are providing the security dashboard which Shri presented in the first session. So there are few changes that's
correct
incoming in ECB.
I think there was one question from Arnold. He's asking if we have released any mitigations through EMS after it was released. So there were no mitigations that have been released so far, Arnold. It is just a placeholder for now, and whenever there's a need, we want to release mitigations.
Yeah, it's for emergency, and if required, it will be used. But any vulnerability or any issue that we see, we will try to fix that. I mean, we'll always fix it through SUs and CUs.
Guys, we have last 5 minutes remaining for the session. Any other questions you have which you think as a team we can answer? Donald, I think your question is integration of EMS status into ECP rather than keeping a checks on events. Yes, this is something I think the team is already planning as part of the admin center experience for on-premises.
What
Satyajit, we
should
didn't
support for
EMS. Are you talking
so
about that?
exchange management share? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, PowerShell actually. It runs on port 80 Kerberos on premises. Online
Okay.
runs on HTTPS. So any plans to change? I know we can use WAF to do it, but yeah, like built in any plans?
Yeah. I mean, not immediately, but yeah, I mean, we will note this as a requirement.
Answering Scott's point, I'm happy with the existing ECP. So Exchange Online is changing too much, which is, I would say, confusing for Exchange admin. So yeah, no request as of now.
Nepa, you want to go next, please?
Yes, thank you. We deploy our SUs via SCCM, and every once in a while, what happens is it seems like the SCCM is not aware exactly what Exchange is doing during an installation. So sometimes when installation maybe gets interrupted or so forth, causes problems with services not starting up again once the server is rebooted and so forth. So my question is there any plans for a little tighter integration between SCCM and maybe installations of SUs via SCCM?
Yeah, I think automated patching and updates have been a feedback that we have heard, and we are working towards it. So we've started working on how do we basically providing information on patching, etc. But we're going to take it to the next step by providing a way where automatically you will be able to update to the next CUs and SUs. So as part of that, we will also evaluate integration with SCCM. But whether SCCM or not, I think automated patching is something that definitely would be addressed.
Thank you.
I think there's one question from Oliver. It's basically our EWS services on SOAP and WCF services. Is there any plans to move them to REST, or will everything move towards Graph in future?
Yeah. So I mean, there is no plan to move anything there in EWS, but is there a requirement from I mean, Oliver, is there anything about your clients that you would need this for? I mean, currently we do not have plans to change anything in AWS, but yeah, do let us know if you see that it will be a requirement in future for you.
Oliver, you want to unmute and speak if you have a specific requirement per se?
Oh, okay. We have reached 11:20.
Yeah, we are at time. I will post the email ID as well. If you want to, in case you want to reach out to us in the future, please reach out using this email ID. And thanks all of you for attending this session and providing your valuable feedback. I mean, one last time, I'm going to request to fill in this survey because it gives us the information in order to plan VNext. And I think there's also another survey link that has been pasted for this session, your feedback on this session.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone,
for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.